Let me describe someone to you. They are smart, genuinely smart. Not my mom think I am smart, actually capable. They have the idea. They have had it for a year and a half. The business plan is in a Google Doc title Final Version 7. The YouTube channel is ready. The name is decided. The logo is designed. The content calendar is color coded. They have read 4 books on how to start. They have watched 11 videos on how to stop procrastinating. They have journaled about it. They have made a vision board. They have not started. If you are smiling right now with the specific smile of someone being caught, hello, this episode is for you. Because here's what I need to tell you, and I need you to actually hear it. The problem is not that you might fail. The problem is that fear.exe has been running in your background for so long it has convinced you that staying still is the same thing as staying safe. It isn't. Staying still is just failing in a slow motion, quietly enough that nobody claps at the end. Welcome to the Failure Protocol, Life Protocol, Episode 8. Episode 8 is going to teach you to stop letting a hypothetical bad outcome run your entire life. Let's terminate fear.exe. So approximately 5,000 years ago, on a battlefield that made placement season look relaxing, a man named Arjuna had a complete system shut down. He was a warrior, the best of his generation, mind you, trained his entire life for exactly this moment. And when the moment arrived, he sat down in his chariot, put his bow on the floor and said, I can't do this. What if it goes wrong? What if I hurt people I love? What if I fail? And his CEO, Lord Krishna, who had the patience of a man who literally exists outside of time, looked at him and said something that has still not been improved upon. Karmanya vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have the right to your actions. You have no right to the fruits of those actions. Translation for 2026. Bhai, ship the code. Stop refreshing the reviews page before you have even committed anything. Arjuna's problem was not ability. His problem was not preparation. His problem was that he had outsourced his entire identity to the outcome, and the moment outcome felt uncertain, his whole system just locked up. That is fear.exe, and it has been running in your background quietly, efficiently, expensively for longer than you realize. 3 protocols. Let's find it, isolate it, and delete it properly. So here comes protocol 1, the safe mode diagnosis. Safe mode, for those who need the technical context. When a computer can't handle what's being asked of it, it boots into safe mode. Minimum processes, no new installation, no updates, no risk. Everything is stable and nothing actually works properly. A lot of you, and I mean this with complete compassion and zero judgment, are living your life in safe mode. And the terrifying part, it feels like responsibility. It feels like I am just being realistic. It feels like I'm just waiting for the right time. Let me show you what safe mode actually looks like in Indian youth life in 2026. See which of these processes you are running. I will start that business after I finish this degree. or I'll apply for that role once I have more experience, or maybe I'll tell my parents about the career switch once I have a backup plan, or I will post that video once I have better equipment, or maybe I will start once I'm ready. Here's the diagnostic question, and the answer it honestly, just for yourself. What is the one thing you know you should be doing right now that you haven't started because you are afraid of what happens if it doesn't work? Hold the answer. Because that specific thing sitting in your head right now is where your life is actually waiting for you. Not in the comfort zone, not in the safe place. There. The diagnosis is complete. You know the file. Now let's change how you have been reading it. So here comes protocol 2, the failure reframe. I need to tell you something about failure that school never did. And school had 11 years to tell you, so solid performance from the system as always. Every piece of technology you depend on right now, your phone, the app you use to order food at midnight, the algorithm that somehow knows you better than your parents, went through thousands of failure cycles before it reached your hands. Engineers call it stress testing. You deliberately push the system until it breaks, because a break in a test environment costs nothing. A break in a production costs everything. Failure in real life, your failures are stress test results. They are not the universe's verdict on your worth. They are your system showing you exactly where the weak dependency is, so you can patch it before the real high-stake moment arrives. Let me make this Indian and real, because the abstract version is too easy to dismiss. The JEE result that you didn't want, the stress test result, showed you that rote memorization without sleep is not a sustainable architecture, not a verdict on your intelligence, a data point. The startup that didn't work, stress test result, showed you the market gap you didn't accounted for, the co-founder dynamic that needed a different design, the timing that was off, not a verdict on your capability, a stress test log, the rejection email, stress test result. The company's rubric didn't match your current build version. You are shipping version 1.3. They simply wanted 2.0, so become 2.0. Now I want you to think about one person, Thomas Alva Edison, who before the light bulb that literally changed civilization failed approximately 10,000 times. 10,000 times, yes. If Edison had a fear of failure the way most of us do, we would all still be doing our late night spirals by candlelight. He said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is not toxic positivity, no. That is the most technically accurate description of the learning process ever recorded. Every failure is your system logging. Not this part, note it, redirect. The people you admire most, the one whose success looks clean and inevitable from the outside, they failed repeatedly, embarrassingly, publicly. The difference is not that they didn't feel fear. The difference is that they treated the crash report as information, not as a final judgment on their entire existence. Not the catastrophic spiral version, the real one. Write it down later. Actually do it. Because most worst cases, when you actually describe them in concrete terms instead of letting them live as a shapeless thread, a survivable, more than survivable, recoverable. So here comes protocol number 3, the first commit. In software development, there is a concept called the first commit. It is the moment a developer stops planning, stops designing in their head, stops tweaking the architecture diagram, and pushes the first actual line of code to the repository. It is almost always messy. It is almost always incomplete. There are bugs. There are missing features. The documentation is whatever the developer promised themselves they would write later. And it is the most important moment in the entire project. Because once the first commit exists, it is real. It can be iterated on. It can be improved. It can be seen, reviewed, fixed, and built into something extraordinary. Before the first commit, it is just a very detailed dream living in someone's head, slowly gathering dust. Your life has a first commit that you have been delaying, and the reason isn't lack of preparation. You are prepared enough. The reason is that publishing something imperfect makes it real, and if it's real, it can actually fail. And if it's only in your head, it's perfect, it's safe, it's always almost ready. Here's the reframe that I want to permanently install today. Imperfect action in the real world generates more growth in 1 week than perfect planning in your head generates in 1 year. Here's your first commit protocol. 3 steps, starting today, not Monday, not after your next exam, today. Step 1, name the thing. Hardly takes 2 minutes, right? Write down the one thing fear.exe has been blocking, not vaguely, not my future. That's not a thing, that's an atmosphere. Specifically apply to that program. Record the first episode, send the pitch email, tell my parents I am changing direction. 1 sentence, concrete noun, actionable verb. Step 2, define the minimal viable first commit. It will take you 5 minutes. What is the smallest possible real world action you can take on this today? Not the full plan. No, not the perfect version. The minimal viable first step. The email doesn't need to be perfect. Send it at 80%. The first episode doesn't need professional lighting. Record it anyway. The conversation doesn't need the ideal timing. Have it this week. The goal of the minimal viable commit is not to finish. It is to make the thing exist in the real world, where it can breathe, be seen, be improved. Step 3. Log the crash reports without shame. When it doesn't go perfectly, and it won't, because first commits never do, you log it. Not spiral into it. Not present it to the family WhatsApp group as evidence that you are fundamentally incapable. Not lie awake at 1 a.m. rerunning the simulation. Log it. What didn't work? Why? What you are patching next? That's it. Crash report filed. Next iteration starts. Because here's the thing about iteration that fear never tells you. The people shipping version 47 of their life, they didn't start at 47. They started at version 1, which was embarrassing, incomplete, and absolutely necessary. And Rumi, a poet who understood human fear with surgical precision, said this 800 years before LinkedIn existed to make everyone feel behind. Live where you fear to live. Destroy your reputation. Be notorious. He didn't mean to be reckless. He meant stop letting the fear of what people will say keep you from becoming what you actually are. The opinion of the person watching you try and watching you fail has never once added a single thing to your actual life. Their approval is not oxygen. Your growth is. So, here is where we land. Episode 8, we found the things that was blocking all of it. Fear.exe, a process that was never yours to run in the first place. Installed sometime around your first grade school exam. Updated every time someone compared you to someone else. Upgraded significantly during JEE season, right? And running continuously ever since, quietly, expensively in the background. Here's the quiet truth I want to leave you with. The version of you that's afraid of failure is not protecting you. It's protecting a reputation you haven't even built yet. For critics who aren't even watching, by keeping you from doing the only thing that would actually make any of it real. Your potential is not in your plan. It's not in your vision board. It's not in final version 7 sitting in a Google Doc you haven't opened in 3 weeks. It's in your action. The imperfect, slightly terrifying, but absolutely necessary first commit. Make the commit. Final protocol of life protocol, episode 8. I'm going to make this request once with full dignity and zero desperation that we established in previous episodes. If this episode installs something really new, hit like. I know the irony of asking you to take action on a video about taking action in not lost on me. Think of it as your first commit. Low stakes, immediate, imperfect, perfectly valid. If you know someone who has final version 7 sitting in a Google Doc somewhere, share this trilogy with them. Tell them it's homework, tell them it's urgent, tell them their life is buffering and you found the patch. Don't overthink the message, just send it. And if you have watched all the episodes so far and still haven't subscribed, look, I have now given you the control protocol, the loneliness protocol and the failure protocol. I have with great care and attention addressed your anxiety, your empty tier 3 folder and fear.exe. Subscribing is in your control. It requires no vulnerability. It has zero failure risk. The only downside is that you get notified when next episode drops. The risk reward on this one is extraordinary and you have just spent 15 minutes learning to take the first commit. This is not a goodbye. This is just the end of episode 8 and you know what this episode is for. Thank you.